squat. We're gonna have a dumbbell here, elbows tucked in, weight tight to the chest. We're not gonna have like some distance here in between the chest and the weight, so almost can even lean it against the torso. And then tuck these elbows in. We don't want them flaring out here to the side. This will help with core engagement. Now, for the squat, or during the squat, we wanna maintain as best we can an upright posture. So we don't want our torso leaning forward like so. Now, I know for a lot of us, this might be our introductory phase to a squat. And so this is gonna help us learn the movement mechanics and the proper positioning to safely do a squat and then add load as you progress with time. But the goal here is to cover the hamstring with the calf when you do hit that squat. So that will equal a full range of motion. So all the way down, pushing these out, hamstring here, you can see is covering my calf, the bottom, and then push up through the ground vertically. So from the front view here, as you notice with your squat, with any squat you do, as you lower the weight, the angle at your knee is decreasing. We're getting more and more shallow with that angle, which is what I mean by hamstring covering the calf. We're literally fully touching here at the bottom of that rep. To be able to go lower and lower and get more depth on your squat, you need more dorsiflexion at the ankle. Quick overview, dorsiflexion is just the angle here at my Achilles heel or my heel moving forward with my knee bent. And so it's decreasing here, so going from vertical to decreasing. A lot of times when first starting out with our squatting or getting introduced to weightlifting, you may not be as developed in that area for your dorsiflexion movement. So it can cause you to have a little bit of issue getting into a full deep range of motion. But the only way to develop that quality is to try to get as close to that as possible. So we do want to be working on increasing our mobility and getting into that greater range of motion. But we don't want to sacrifice good form or round at the back, cave the knees in. So a way to mitigate that if we don't have that mobility or the strength in the ankles yet is we put a block or plates underneath our heels. And so that'll prop our heels up. And essentially what that does, so if you can see here with my heels propped up, all it does is add height to my heel so it lessens the distance that my ankle needs to dorsiflex. So I don't have to have as much of that mobility. And it's a little easier for me to get into this hamstring covering calf position so I'm at full range of motion. So instead of saying, okay, let's squat down to halfway because we can't quite get there with no blocks or no plates under our feet, the way to work around that is we put the plates under our feet and then we still go as low as we can with our mobility. Right here, we are working on a deep squat. There will be times where you'll have a squat that's more focused on speed, it's a shorter range of motion, what have you. But for today, in this specific exercise, we are trying to get to that full depth. And so this is what I want you to do if you're not quite at that full depth. And another cue if you're doing any sort of squat, primarily this tip will apply more to bilateral or two-legged squat. But the same concept for a single leg is we don't want valgus at the knee. And valgus is this angle when we're going down where my knee shifts inward. That puts a lot of stress on the inside of the knee here, can cause injury. And so a tip or a cue here to avoid that and to bulletproof ourselves from a injury risk perspective is to push the knees out as we lower. And what I mean by that is the tips of our knees are just rotating out a little further. We're opening at the hips, allowing for a greater range of motion here so I can fully sit down. As opposed to if I do let my knees cave in, sometimes that can be from lack of mobility or the weight being too heavy. It'll actually make me close my hips, so now I'm putting all the pressure on my knees. Same concept if it's moving forward, so if we're not pushing the knees out actively, but we're not trying to push them in, this is okay. There'll be certain ranges of motion where we're trying to go a little bit more close quarter with our squat or close stance with our squat. But generally speaking, it's like to be about shoulder width with our stance, and then pushing the knees out just allows us to have more range of motion to open at the hips and get that full hamstring covering calf position.